There's a man who never lost a single duel in his entire life. 61 fights, 61 victories. Not because he was the fastest, not because he was the strongest, but because every time he walked into a fight, his mind was already finished with fear. His name was Miyamoto Musashi, and he left behind 5 rules that most people have never actually applied to their own lives. But here's what nobody tells you. These rules weren't written for samurai. They were written for you. Most of us spend our days fighting battles we never win. Against procrastination, against distraction, against the version of ourselves that keeps saying, "I'll start tomorrow." Musashi's answer to that: you haven't mastered the way yet. In his final written work, the Dokkōdō, meaning the path of aloneness, Musashi outlined principles he lived by. Written just 9 days before his death, alone in a mountain cave. No regrets, no fear, no noise. Today, we're going to break down the 5 rules that built that kind of mind, and exactly how to use them in the 21st century. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Every time you scroll for 1 more minute, grab 1 more snack you didn't need, or skip 1 more workout, your brain is learning something about you. It's learning that you can be bought cheaply. Musashi didn't avoid pleasure because he was punishing himself. He avoided cheap pleasure because he understood what it costs. Every time you choose instant gratification, you spend a piece of the discipline you'll need later. Research from Stanford confirms this. People who regularly delay gratification show measurably higher performance across almost every life domain: income, relationships, health, and yes, mental clarity. Musashi knew this 400 years before the scientists did. Practical application. This week, choose 1 thing you reach for automatically: your phone in the morning, afternoon sugar, TV before bed, and delay it by just 30 minutes. Not forever, just 30 minutes. You're training the muscle, not torturing yourself. We live in the age of the self. Self-brand, self-care, self-optimization. And yet anxiety, loneliness, and burnout are at record highs. Musashi's rule flips the whole script. The more energy you pour into protecting your ego, your image, your reputation, how you're perceived, the less capacity you have for real focus, real work, real connection. Here's a pattern most high performers recognize. Their best work happened when they stopped thinking about how they looked doing it. The writer who forgot about critics and just wrote. The athlete who stopped worrying about the crowd and just moved. That's Musashi's rule in action. Practical application. Before your next important task, write down this single sentence. My only job right now is to do the work. Not to be impressive, not to be perfect, just to do the work. Post it somewhere visible. This one hits different. Musashi lost teachers, rivals, friends. He walked away from attachments that most people would have clung to for comfort. Not because he was cold, but because he understood that grief and attachment, when left unexamined, become weights. Psychologists call this experiential avoidance, when we become so afraid of pain from loss that we stop moving. We replay the past instead of living the present. Musashi's solution wasn't to not care. It was to care fully and then let go fully. Holding on doesn't honor what was lost. It just freezes you where it ended. Practical application. Think of 1 thing, a relationship, a failure, an old version of yourself that you haven't truly let go of. Write 1 sentence describing what you learned from it. Then write 1 sentence about where you're going instead. That's not moving on. That's moving forward. This is the rule most people in the US misread. Acceptance sounds passive, like giving up, like the opposite of ambition. But Musashi was one of the most intensely driven humans who ever lived. What he understood was this: resistance to reality doesn't change reality, it just burns your energy. Think about the last time something went wrong, a deal fell through, a plan collapsed, someone let you down. How many hours did you spend arguing with the fact that it happened? That argument is expensive, and you always lose. Acceptance isn't surrender. It's the starting point of real power. Because once you stop fighting what is, all that energy becomes available for what's next. Practical application: the next time something goes sideways, say these 5 words out loud. Okay, what do I do now? Not why did this happen? Not this isn't fair. Just what do I do now? Everything Musashi ever did, every duel, every painting, every word he wrote came back to one thing: commitment to his path, not because it was comfortable, not because it was rewarded, but because it was his. Here's the real discipline crisis most people face in America today. It's not laziness, it's direction. We have more access to information, opportunity, and possibility than any generation in history. And we've never been more confused about what we actually want. Musashi's answer is brutal in its simplicity. Pick your way. Walk it every day. Don't ask if it's working yet, just walk it. Consistency is the only proof the universe accepts. Practical application: write down your way in one sentence, not a goal, not a dream board. One sentence that describes the kind of person you are committed to becoming. Read it every morning before you pick up your phone. Musashi died at 62, alone in a cave. By almost every modern standard, that sounds bleak. But he died without a single regret, without a single unfinished thing inside him. He had walked his way to the end. The question isn't whether you can be Miyamoto Musashi. The question is, are you willing to stop being the person who keeps postponing the life you actually want? These 5 rules won't fix everything overnight. Nothing will. But start with one, just one, and walk it every single day. That's the way